Welcome back. You are watching VGL 2v2 Season 1. We're here in Week 6 action with what has turned out to be an exciting game between ElPolloLoco and Crump versus a very desperate Diener and bnasty. Diener and bnasty doing the impossible last game, causing a monster upset. Diener, of course, transforming into his Korean version and basically decimating and annihilating everything in his path with a huge Marauder ball that was completely unanswered. And this has forced a Game 3 with, of course, Diener and bnasty's entire season on the line. They will need to win this game to guarantee any hope at a playoff spot, as a loss here will guarantee an elimination from the season and basically send them home. A win will allow them to at least have a 50-50 chance of making the playoffs. It will depend, of course, on whether or not other teams lose, but it will at least give them a fighting chance. So they are literally fighting for their season. Crump and Pollo, a little less serious. They are fighting for basically first map advantage on the semifinal rounds. They have basically guaranteed themselves a playoff spot already. Crump and Pollo, of course, one of the top seeded teams and one of the most feared teams in the entire VGL regular season. So it'll be very interesting to see there. Diener, of course, getting his early scout on. And it looks like he will cross paths with Pollo's Overlord, and he will get some early vision here on this base and try to keep an eye on things. And of course, last game, an early attack from Diener and bnasty kind of crippled Crump a little bit and forced Pollo to play very defensively, which of course led to him completely ignoring his air game. And unfortunately, those Marauders took advantage of the lack of air units and basically steamrolled both of their bases. So they will need to play a little bit more aggressively early on, and we see that already from Crump as he goes with 2 gateways. Both gateways pretty much indicative of early zealots. He will need that to try and defend off any kind of attack here. You see some very aggressive scouting here from Diener. I guess he's going to check to see if in case anyone else made an extra base this early. And we do see the wall off being complete here. Take a look at the scouting privileges, and we'll see that there really hasn't been any scouting yet from Crump or Pollo. And by the time they get to this base, this wall will be complete with a patented bunker from Diener, and that will prevent them from being able to really get any eyes in here, which is a great advantage for bnasty and Diener. bnasty opting not to go with some early zealot attacks, instead going for a fast expansion. Very interesting there. Another page from Kid's playbook there, as he is going for an early expand. Diener finally satisfied that a third team did not somehow make it into this game, and is now heading back to his base, convinced that this is indeed a 2v2. You see a lone zealot hanging out here by the wall. And so far, it looks like late Cybernetics Core coming down. Take a look at production tab. We see lots of zealots coming out for Crump, at least 2. And we do see speed underway, as well as a queen for Pollo. And we take a look at the unit count. We'll see 6 lings already. And we see these lings kind of just hanging out here. It looks like this ling, took a little bit of fire here, testing out the wall. But there's not much for them to do, unfortunately, because they've been kind of kicked out of this base due to the late scouting. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to this. Pollo, of course, not ashamed to use a changeling every once in a while. So there are ways into that base, so that's going to have to wait for layer tech. So it's going to be interesting to see how long. There we go. Pollo putting down an expansion as well. He's going to go ahead and macro this up a little bit. And, so far so good, I guess. I mean, pretty much around this time last game, they were being faced with some very early pressure. So I guess no pressure is good pressure. And we do see a Twilight Council going down as well. And it looks like bnasty's just a couple steps ahead here, getting a second gateway down, but prioritizing Warp Gates and a Twilight Council. A couple ways he can go with that. We'll have to see if he's going to go for some fast DTs or not. We do see a ball of lings from Pollo rolling out now, heading over here. There's not much they can do unless they've got Banelings in their blood, and they do not. So without Banelings, there's really not much they can do. We do see these tech labs down. So that may be indicative of some more Marauders, but no, it looks like he will go for the Reapers instead. So those Reapers, I don't think we've seen any Reapers in regular season play so far. So those Reapers should be very interesting, as no one's most likely expecting them. Even scouting out these tech labs, which I don't believe they've done. Let me see. No, they have not scouted out those tech labs. So even if they saw those tech labs, they would most likely assume that they were going to go with Marauders. We see Diener and bnasty really cleaning up their game. You see how they're hiding these Reapers there? And that seems like common sense. We'd be surprised how much hiding has not happened on the bnasty gameplay here, you know, and I don't want to be too harsh on it because they are very good players, but, you know, they have a tendency to show their hand a little too soon, and that's one of their weaknesses. And this time they're doing an excellent job hiding these Reapers here. Of course, it's going to be very difficult for those Reapers to make any headway here. They have a Xel'Naga that they need to dodge, they're not even aware of. They also have some Lings hanging out over here, so it's going to be interesting to see how these now 6 Reapers are going to be able to hide at all. Now 7 Reapers, I should say. We also see an expansion now going down for Crump as well. Looks like these Reapers are going to barely dodge these Lings, but they will unfortunately get detected right here. And they're going to need to stay balled up if they want any hope to survive this Ling attack. And it looks like they will lose 1, 2, almost 3 Reapers, but 5 Reapers remain. They will clean up the rest of these Zerglings, and it looks like they're going to go find a target. Diener's going to have to use these Reapers immediately, though, because unfortunately he has tipped the hand now, thanks to those early Ling scouts. And it looks like they are going to go to their favorite target, Crump, and try to pick off once again some stuff. And oh, these charge lots are not going to make it easy for these Reapers. You know, Reapers love slow lots, but charge lots are a little bit too much of a challenge here. It looks like they will run back in here, try to pick off a little bit of this building. And oh, a very expensive decision there. And they will lose some of those units. Looks like Pollo once again racking up now with a Baneling nest in tow. He is ready to try and Baneling bust something. We do see these Reapers rolling in back here. A single Zealot trying to guard it. And it looks like that Zealot will take out the rest. If not, his friends are coming, as they are not interested in buying anything that Reaper is selling. And we do see a lot more Lings starting to pile up here now. Let's take a look at the unit tab. We have 33 Lings and an Overseer to boot. We do have 5 High Templars, though, coming out now. High Templars, not a staple in bnasty's arsenal. Another page that he's borrowing from Kid, it looks like. But very effective, especially with Storm. And it looks like Storm research is underway. No, it does not look like it's underway just yet. But we do see a shuttle underway. So that shuttle, of course, will be very, very useful here. We see bnasty also rolling out with his Zealot of his own to try and scout. We do see a single Reaper rolling in here, trying to do a little bit more damage on the Crump economy, but unfortunately those Zealots will put an end to that. And we do see some nice Overlord spread here, and Pollo as well with his own Overseer kind of hanging out, trying to get some kind of eyes in this base right now. If we take a look at what they know, they don't know much. They have not been in this base in a very, very long time. So it looks like this Overseer is going to attempt to remedy that by dropping some kind of changeling in. He's, of course, going to check for this gold. We do see lots of Warp Gates coming down now for bnasty, as well as a late Forge. See some Stalkers as well. And this is going to be very interesting. We see now, here we go, there's a changeling, very typical of Pollo. Unfortunately, that changeling is going to die instantly. So there's not much view there. We do see this shuttle from Crump, however, rolling in here. And, you know, usually we see bnasty with shuttles. It looks like Crump has a shuttle of his own as this army is rolling out here, taking control of the Xel'Naga. It'll be interesting to see what he's going to do. He's got 4 Zealots loaded up in there, of course, and will most likely try to warp in more additionally afterward. And this is going to be a very interesting coordinated attack here. It looks like they are just creeping in with this army here. 5 High Templars, though, to boot. And just as they do, Crump goes for the drop. Not going too well, it looks like, as he's only got 2 of those Zealots out. And we do see lots of Stalkers rolling in here. Of course, worker evacuation from Diener. Meanwhile, this army is rolling in from Diener and bnasty. We do see lots of Mutalisks rolling in here. Unfortunately, those Marauders are not going to like it. And we do see some storms coming down in an attempt to take that out. Meanwhile, we do see more stuff coming in here, as Crump has barely been able to hold on to this Warp Prism and just still warping in some units here. These Stalkers without Blink are going to need to get a little bit closer to try to take out that shuttle. And it looks like these Mutalisks, as well as some of Crump's Zealots, will finally kick out Diener's advance here. That is not good news for them. Diener, of course, was held off for almost a minute being able to mine anything. He needs to get these workers back to work. Looks like Crump lost that shuttle as well. And we do see lots of Pollo's workers, Mutas coming in here is going for workers. bnasty not going to be happy about this. This is looking very bad for Diener and bnasty. bnasty losing all of these units here. We also have some Zealots from Crump hitting the front here. That should be fairly easy for them to take control of, though. He will lose that bunker, and it looks like a bunch of Stalkers trying to run around chasing here. Some cannons in place, though, at the main. This is not looking good at all. We also have some banelings in morphed position from Pollo. This is going to be very good to try and kick out anything. We do have finally some blink stalkers here from bnasty chasing away these Mutalisks, but the damage has been done. He did lose an entire base worth of units. Very, very bad indeed. Diener, however, able to expand at least a little bit. Pollo pulling back these mutas. We do have lots and lots of banelings. They do have their speed upgrade as well. We see some immortals coming out, some great wall busters right there, and we do see Crump with a proxy pylon here. That proxy pylon will go down to this stalker ball, and it looks like they will also try to get that overseer, but it doesn't look like they can reach it just yet. Of course, that overseer has now detected Diener's expansion. Be interesting to see what they do with that. You also see Pollo trying to use creep to block off possible expansion routes here as well. Also very useful. We see these mutas just kind of roaming around here, and a large Ling bling ball as well, as these stalkers have blinked in here, and they will try to mitigate the surround as much as possible. They're very outgunned here, but they have gotten some revenge, taking out a good chunk of Crump's ability to saturate here, and they will get pushed out, however, by that Ling and Muta ball there from Pollo. Lots and lots of action going on here. Pollo again trying to take out more expansion possibilities by spreading creep. They do not want to let the macro get away from them. Take a look at the economy tab here. We'll see that Pollo pulling ahead of everybody, almost doubling people's resources. Everyone else fairly even on the count. You see a huge roll out here from Pollo as he has lots of lings and banelings, and it looks like Crump is going to send some workers as well. And oh no, this is not looking good at all. All these banelings just kind of rolling in here, and a storm being put down, unfortunately just missing the mark. You see a missile turret trying to chase away those. However, this great move here from Diener, repairing that planetary fortress, is able to whittle down a lot of these Zerglings. A very bad choice there from Pollo there, as he tried to take out a planetary fortress. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's not going to work in your favor. These links will basically go down. These mutas, however, taking down. Oh, Diener just barely saving that missile turret with a quick micro of those units, and he will of course chase out some of these mutas. Drops 2 more mutas here. Archon chasing just as Crump rolls in with the rest of his army, the army that probably should have joined the first time around, but you know, better late than never. And we do see these Archons, though, are going to take advantage of the focus fire that we see here. This planetary fortress, an excellent micro here from Diener, prioritizing the repair of that planetary fortress. He will lose most of those workers, but he looks like he will be able to save most of that planetary fortress, if not all of it. And the rest of these mutas going down as well. We do see some more lings rolling in here. Some really bad decision making from Pollo and Crump. They did not keep the army together in that initial attack, which could have won them this game. And they also keep prioritizing this planetary fortress. Diener is just too good about repairing it, and you know, unfortunately, that is just not going to help there. Pollo trying to spread some creep, very annoying, but unfortunately not going to be very effective. And we do see Pollo now. Let's take a look at the production tab here. We do see Pollo once again pulling out some lings as well as some banelings, and we do see a Thor, another favorite unit of Diener here, coming out as well. We do see a nice ling bling ball rolling up here. It is possible to bling this planetary fortress, but he's going to have to be very quick about it. He has wasted a lot of units trying to take down that planetary fortress. However, Diener is running out of minerals at his main, therefore it is a very critical planetary fortress. We also see Pollo rolling out, trying to get a 3rd base as well. He will need that to try and really maximize his economic advantage. We see 6 more Mutalisks underway as well, and this is going to be a very, very interesting attack here, as basically a ling bling ball. Not sure if, oh, there we go, more blings underway. I was going to say, I'm not sure if that's enough blings to really do any damage. Look at all the research, all the production going on here from Pollo. He just has too much money on his hands. Another base underway now as well. We do see a nice large armor based unit here, army here rolling out. You know, this is going to be one hell of a battle, but very aggressive showmanship here from Crump and Pollo. However, we do not see a lot of units from Crump. Crump is basically just kind of hanging out here. Only 3 immortals and 9 zealots from Crump. Crump is being extremely money hoard. I mean, look at his resources here. He doesn't really have a lot of resources either. You know, he's just kind of floating right now. But we don't see a lot of aggressiveness there from him. Meanwhile, bnasty with these Archons, a great choice against Lings. They will be the last line of defense here. for this planetary fortress, because if those blings make it there, it will be very deadly. Looks like they're going to go ahead and aggressively roll out here, and they will take out most of those blings. They are not rolling in tandem here. It looks like now these blings are going to hit these Archons, which will act as a meat shield, and it looks like that will be exactly what they needed. Those Archons lived a life of sacrifice as they basically absorbed all of that bling hit, and they are now free to roam around. This remaining Stalker Marauder Thor ball is now going to roll through, and we'll have to see if they're going to be aggressive here and try to take something out. You also see bnasty creating a proxy here of cannons and warping in a bunch of slow lots as well, and it looks like he will try to converge on this, still creeping up with some more units here. And you know, this is not looking good at all. Of course, this is now we see some cannons coming down. Wow, some really aggressive fortifications here from bnasty, as he is saying, hey, we're here to stay. And we do see some DTs now from Crump. These DTs, of course, are going to be a big hassle if Diener notices them. Yes, he will throw down the scan, try to take that out. We see some blings rolling in as well. These Thors will try to tank them as best as possible. And here come the rest of bnasty's troops. Some Zealots will definitely come a long way in trying to take some of this out. He needs to get close to these cannons, though, and those cannons will detect those DTs to be able to pull them back here. bnasty going with some very aggressive, basically, you know, insurgent play here. You know, putting down these cannons to give him some kind of foothold against the army. We see another Marauder Thor army rolling in here. The pressure has swayed dramatically now, as the front of the Crump and ElPolloLoco base is now completely fortified. These cannons being used to detect these DTs. This is exactly what they need to keep the pressure going. They're going to need to keep this up if they want to try to win. Unfortunately, all of this creep is going to make it very difficult to expand these cannons. And they really, I mean, it's so effective at this point. They should try to expand these cannons just a little bit, especially for detection purposes. They have them running on a single pylon. Very, very dangerous. They do have a backup site, though. We see more Marauders rolling in here. This is not looking good at all. You know, there's really no way for them to leave their base. And we don't see a lot of units from Crump, though. Again, Crump using a lot of his resources on DTs, which are not being very effective. We'd like to see him transition from that at this point. He also has these Zealots kind of hanging out up here. And once again, distributed unit attack. You see a lack of coordination from Pollo and Crump. And this could be the push that they were looking for. And, you know, Crump and Pollo had a nice push earlier in the game that they had a chance to really hurt them, if not end the game. And they squandered it, trying to fixate it on that planetary fortress. Diener, of course, repairing it way too much. We see more DTs coming in. They take out Pollo's expansion. This is exactly what they needed to do. Another Thor rolling in here, and this is looking very, very bad. We do have two DTs, though, in there, causing some major damage. We're going to need to throw down a scan to try and get rid of those DTs before it's too late. See Pollo leaving the game, and this is not looking good at all. Pollo, unfortunately, also lost this expansion over here. This is just looking very, very bad. He has left the game. This is now all up to Crump. Crump leaving the game as well. Unbelievable. A victory, a complete upset victory going in favor of Diener and bnasty. Wow, incredible play from them. They did everything right to defend against that very heavy push that they got earlier in the game. That could have been the push that would have swayed this game in another direction in favor of Crump and Pollo, but they unfortunately prioritized their targets. They tried to go for a planetary fortress that was just way too well fortified, completely costing them the army. And you know what? Let me point something out here. This wall right here, another attack point. Everyone forgot about this. Nobody attempted to use these attack points at all. And on the Diener bnasty side, they didn't really even have it fortified. Granted, this building would have probably detected something, but completely unfortified here. So again, we see a complete lack of cohesion from Crump and Pollo, and honestly, Crump building very few units, just very, very few units throughout the entire game. He spent a lot of resources on DTs that just were not being very effective, and you know, especially with a Terran ability to scan, just not very effective at all. And just unbelievable comeback victory. Diener and bnasty keeping themselves alive for a possible playoff berth. We'll have to see how the rest of the week plays out for the other teams. They are not in complete control of their destiny, but they have given themselves a fighting chance. Unbelievable upset victory here. Crump and Pollo, of course, pretty much losing any first map advantage they may have in the semifinals by losing this game. Shocking turn of events here, but a huge congratulations to Diener and bnasty keeping their season alive. We'll have to see how week 7 plays out, so we can determine the final playoff selection there for that last playoff spot.